Recently, I did a live YouTube stream where I taught the tune Drag Her Round the Road by ear only. And it was a challenge for people that don't necessarily have the skill of learning by ear and want to develop it, to sit with their instrument and try to follow along as I teach a tune as I would if I were face to face with the student in the real world. That's a skill that, if you don't have it, is worth developing, but it does take time and it does take practice and, of course, lots of patience. So to back that up, I do have the notation of the tune, and that does help. And it's a blended learning approach, which is to be able to learn by ear and to be able to learn by notation as well. And one complements the other. If you want to try that out, there is a link in the description for you to go and watch that video and see. Challenge yourself to learn by ear. And when you're done, come back and watch this video where I show all of the ornamentation and the chords and the variations that we can add to the tune. And this whole thing is notated on Soundslice. It's normally done through my Patreon, but because I'd like for you to experience what Soundslice is like and what I am creating on Patreon, there is going to be a link in the description for free access to this entire lesson. You can learn by ear, you can learn by notation, learn the ornamentation, the whole lot. So go and check out the link in the description. That'll bring you to the Soundslice website, and we'll take it from there. Don't worry too much if you aren't able to pick up the tune immediately by ear. That's a practice, and it takes time to get it right. And if it's your first time doing it, don't expect that you can immediately learn it off. So keep trying to learn by ear, because it is a great skill in addition to being able to read notation. Here is Drag Her Round the Road with very simple ornamentation. Okay, so what we're doing there is we're just putting a single note triplet, which is done with the right hand on the long notes in the tune as they present themselves. From a picking point of view, it's always worth remembering and noting that a triplet is going to be down, up, down. And when you're playing a reel, the note after the triplet is always down. Down, up, down, down. That will keep you in a regular picking pattern, alternate picking, down, up, down, up, down, up. Let's expand a little bit more on the ornamentation, and this time we're going to include what I call 3-note triplets, which would be a little run up, or, well, that's a run down, but you get the idea. The right hand is doing the very same thing. The right hand is still down, up, down, followed by a down, but we're just bringing in some more movement into the melody of the tune. Now we're going to talk about chords. This tune is in the key of E minor. The second half goes to G. So the E minor chord is the notes E, B, E. So the arpeggio of E minor is E, G, B. And G, of course, is G, B, D. We're going to play around with the tune, and this time we're just going to add chords. Some simple ornamentation, but just to give you a flavour of what using double stops or chords or harmonies or however you describe it can work very, very nicely in a tune. Let's do one round of the tune now. Ornamentation, a little bit of variation, chords, harmony, the whole lot. I'll keep the pace a little bit slower. Not too slow, because if I lose the flow of the tune, then some of the ornaments that I add in start to sound a little bit stunted. And don't forget, on Sound Slice, you can take this and slow it down. If there's a little bar that you like the sound of it, but you're a bit confused as to where the triplet is going or how the chord is working, and I record this with a little bit of extra reverb so that when you do slow it down, the tone of the banjo still carries through pretty good. In that second half, I think it was the second half, no, in the first part, I was doubling down on the chords and using it as a rhythmical instrument, okay? And the idea behind that is that you create some tension. And that we're building up the tension with the E minor, and then it's resolved once we hit that big G chord at the start of the second half. And that's the fun stuff in the music. I hope you enjoy this short lesson for Drag Around the Road. And if you do, go and check out all of the stuff that I have on offer on Patreon. There's at least 150 video lessons up there right now. And this is what I do. I take a tune, I teach it in the most simplest format, and then I build it up gradually so that it's challenging you all of the time to improve your technique and improve your repertoire of ornamentation chords and variation and the tunes themselves.